Welcome to the channel where your divine power is no longer a secret, where ancient truths meet the present moment, and where the voice you're hearing right now is not just mine. It's your soul, calling you to remember who you really are. Here we don't chase the future. We create it from within. This journey you're about to take is not entertainment, it's awakening, rooted in the powerful words of Neville Goddard, and reborn in a voice that speaks to this generation. Tonight's message will reveal the one truth that changes everything. You are already what you seek. In just a few moments, we'll dive deep into a sacred rhythm of words that will show you how to live in the end, how to move beyond wishing and waiting, and instead assume your dream fulfilled until the world must conform. If you're ready to stop begging reality and start commanding it, then breathe deep, open your heart, and come walk this path of inner creation with us. Make sure to subscribe because this channel was designed for souls like yours. And if this message stirs something real inside you, share it with someone you love, because when we remember together, we rise together. Now, let the voice of truth begin. It begins with a whisper. Not from the world outside, but from a place deep within. A voice not carried on sound, but on knowing. The truth you've spent your life searching for was never out there. It's not hidden in some book you haven't read, or in a guru you haven't found. It's been in you all along. The power to transform your reality. The power to bend circumstances to your will. The power to become what you desire. It's not coming. It's already here. And that power is your imagination. Neville Goddard didn't teach wishful thinking. He didn't tell you to cross your fingers and hope. He taught that imagining creates reality, that what you feel to be true within, with persistence and faith, must harden into fact. The world you experience right now, every relationship, every number in your bank account, every victory and every limitation, it's all a reflection of what you've accepted within. Not what you've hoped for, not what you've begged for, but what you've assumed to be true. That's the secret no one taught you growing up. You were told to work harder, chase more, prove yourself. But no one told you that your assumptions shape the fabric of reality. That to live in the end, to move through life as though your desire is already fulfilled, is the very method used by those who create at will. And now, it's yours. So let me ask you, can you see it? Can you feel it? Close your eyes for a moment. What would it feel like right now if your dream were already real? Don't think about how it will happen. That's not your job. The how belongs to the unseen intelligence that surrounds you, lives in you, is you. Your job is to dwell in the end, to embody the result, to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and stay there unwavering. If it's love you desire, then walk in the world as though you are already cherished, chosen, adored. If it's abundance, then breathe like someone who is no longer counting every dollar, but deciding where to invest their overflow. If it's purpose, then speak with the conviction of one who knows why they are here. Because when you live in the end, the beginning must reorganize. You're not here to hope. You're not here to wait. You are here to create. And the moment you claim your desire as already yours, the world begins to mirror it back to you in ways so precise, so undeniable that others will call it coincidence. But you'll know better. You'll remember this moment, this choice, this inner shift. You don't need evidence to believe. You believe, and the evidence comes. That's the reversal. That's the law. And it goes against everything the world taught you. We've been raised to react, to respond, to wait for life to give us permission. But Goddard's voice, the same voice echoing through you now, says, dare to assume you are already what you want to be. And you will become it. Not eventually, not maybe, inevitably. Your world is clay, and assumption is the fire that hardens it. So live from the end. Talk like it's done. Walk like it's done. Pray like it's done. Not with pleading, but with thanksgiving. Every night before you sleep, feel it real. Don't just wish, experience. Step into the scene. Hear the applause. Feel the hand holding yours. Smell the success. Taste the celebration. And let your imagination take the lead. Because imagination is not fiction. It is the divine creative force of reality itself. The only question is, will you use it? You don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. And what you are is not what you say out loud. It's not what you post, what you promise, what you pretend. It's the silent assumption you carry within your being, the state you return to when no one is watching. And here is the uncomfortable truth. You are always imagining, always assuming, always creating. There's no off switch. Every fear, every worry, every replay of the past, every doubt about the future, they are imaginal acts, and they are seeds you've been planting every day. And your life right now is the harvest of those unconscious assumptions. But don't let that scare you. Let it awaken you. Because the same power that once created limitation can now create liberation. The same imagination that once built walls can now build doors. The same I am that said, I am not enough, can now say, I am more than ready. And the universe will agree, because it doesn't argue, it reflects. So the moment you change state, the world around you begins to reorganize to match the new reality you've claimed. This is why Neville said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and continue feeling it until that which you feel becomes your nature. That's not just poetic, it's mechanical. Your assumptions are magnetic. Your inner state is the mold, and the outer world pours itself into that shape. You don't have to manipulate, chase, or compete. You only have to remain faithful to the unseen. This is not about forcing results. It's about becoming the result. And yes, the old world will resist, because your past assumptions will try to pull you back. They'll appear in the form of doubts, delays, echoes of who you used to be. But don't bow to them. They're not signs of failure. They're signs that something is shifting, that you are no longer available for the old story, and that the new one is activating. So when the doubts come, when the outer world says it's not working, when nothing looks different yet, that's your cue to go deeper, not retreat. Because the test is not in the world, it's in you. Will you persist in the assumption when your senses scream otherwise? Will you walk in faith when evidence is still catching up? Will you believe you are it when nothing outside has changed? Because if you can do that, you've passed the only test that matters. Persistence in assumption is the difference between delay and demonstration. It's the difference between a daydreamer and a creator. You are not here to observe reality. You are here to command it through the invisible, invincible power within you. Neville Goddard called it living in the end. That means embodying the outcome as your identity. That means walking as the version of you who has already won. That means leaving behind the version of you who's still begging, still doubting, still waiting. That version served you, but it's over now. And in its place, a new identity rises, one that doesn't negotiate with reality, but reshapes it. So let's bring this home. What do you truly want? Don't answer from fear. Don't filter it through logic. Don't shrink it to make it safer. Be honest. What do you truly want? See it now. Don't just visualize it, enter it. Make it real, make it vivid, make it now. Imagine the scene that would imply your desire has already been fulfilled. And here's the key. Don't imagine the process, imagine the result. Don't see yourself working toward the goal. See yourself living in the reward. If it's wealth, don't picture the business plan. Picture the freedom. If it's love, don't obsess over the meeting. Picture the moment they hold your face and say, "I choose you." If it's health, don't replay the diagnosis. Picture yourself running, laughing, vibrant, alive. Go to the end. And from that end, let your life flow. Because the end creates the means. The moment you assume the state of the wish fulfilled, a bridge of incidents begins to form, a series of events you could never have predicted, but each one perfectly necessary to bring your desire into form. You don't have to control it. You don't have to micromanage it. You just have to remain in the state. Neville taught us, if you remain faithful to the end will remain faithful to you. That is the great secret. Not hustle, not struggle, not effort. Faith. Faith not in some distant deity, but in your own imagination. Faith that what you assume must become real. Faith that you are not separate from God, but that your imagination is God in action. That's why he said, man is all imagination and God is man. You are not powerless. You are not waiting for the stars to align. You are the force that aligns them. You are the operant power. And the moment you decide, truly decide, to dwell in the state of your desire as if it were already fulfilled, the world around you bends, not immediately, not always visibly, but inevitably. Because assumption is not just a mindset, it's the blueprint of manifestation. Listen carefully. The moment you assume something new, the old version of you begins to die. Not in a morbid sense, but in the most miraculous one. A version of you that once felt stuck, uncertain, and powerless begins to dissolve. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Every time you assume your dream fulfilled, you're doing more than visualizing. You're initiating a resurrection. You're bringing into life a version of yourself that was buried under fear, doubt, and logic. And that version, the one aligned with love, purpose, and abundance, begins to rise. You're not hoping, you're not rehearsing, you're becoming. But this transformation is not always gentle. It's not always convenient. Because living in the end will often make the middle feel messy. People may leave, jobs may shift, things may fall apart, but not because you failed. Because the reality you once lived in is making way for the one you've assumed. Don't fear the shakeup. That's just the universe rearranging to match your new state. Neville said it clearly, your assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. And the key word is persisted. This isn't a one-time act. This is a way of life. When you wake up, assume. When you're met with contradiction, assume again. When doubt whispers, speak louder within. When results seem delayed, deepen your embodiment. Because if you wait for outer proof before you believe, you will wait forever. But if you dare to believe before seeing, the world has no choice but to follow. That's not magic, that's law. This is what it means to live in the end. To carry the energy of fulfillment within you, even while the world still looks the same. To feel chosen even when you're alone. To feel rich even before the bank says so. To feel whole even when the mirror hasn't caught up. Because the mirror is slow. Reflection follows creation. And creation starts with assumption. So here's the real work. Stop negotiating with your senses. They are reporters, not commanders. They tell you what was, not what is becoming. When your inner world is firm, the outer world must submit. It has no choice. Neville often said, change your conception of yourself and you will automatically change the world in which you live. Let that sink in. You don't have to fix the world. You don't have to convince anyone. You don't have to fight or chase or outperform. All you have to do is revise your identity. not on paper, not as an affirmation, but as your inner residence, where your imagination lives 24/7. That's why he also said, "You are free to choose the concept you will accept of yourself. Therefore, you possess the power of intervention, the power to alter the course of your future. You don't need permission. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't even need certainty. You just need willingness. Willingness to detach from who you were. Willingness to embody who you are becoming. Willingness to trust in the unseen. And most of all, willingness to feel it now. Because assumption is not logic, it's not calculation, it's emotion. Feeling is the secret. The feeling of relief, the feeling of joy, the feeling of peace that says, it is already done. You might ask, but what if it's not real? And to that, Neville would say, all realities exist now. The one you focus on, the one you occupy, the one you feel, that is the one that will solidify. So ask yourself, which version of me am I energizing today?
Am I feeding the version of me who is lost, unworthy, uncertain? Or am I aligning with the one who has already arrived? Because both are real, but only one can live through you. You get to choose. You've always been choosing, but now you're choosing with awareness. And that awareness changes everything. So breathe. Drop your shoulders. Return to the end. Imagine yourself standing at the finish line, not crawling toward it. Feel it. Feel the knowing. Feel the calm. Feel the confidence that doesn't ask how, but simply moves. That's what changes the game. Not external effort, but internal embodiment. You don't manifest your dreams by becoming someone else. You manifest your dreams by realizing that you already are. You're not here to beg life for change. You're here to command it with your inner authority. That authority isn't arrogance, it's alignment. Alignment with your true nature. Divine, creative, whole. So when you look in the mirror tonight, don't just see skin, eyes, hair. See power. See God in form. See the divine spark that creates galaxies, now choosing to create your reality. And smile, because now you remember. You remember that you are the cause, not the effect. The author, not the character. The source, not the seeker. And from that knowing, all things are added. Let the world call it crazy. Let them call it unrealistic. You'll call it done. Because while they wait for evidence, you'll be living in the end, and that is the beginning of everything. Reality is not outside of you. It's not happening to you. It's happening through you, molded by the shape of your self-concept. This is the part they never taught you in school. They taught you to memorize, to obey, to wait for permission. But they didn't teach you to imagine on purpose. They didn't teach you that your inner state was the author of the outer world. They didn't tell you that what you feel is true will eventually become visible. But Neville did. He taught that the key to transformation isn't action, it's assumption. That when you live from the end, life has no choice but to mirror that end back to you in form. And yes, your senses will fight you, your mind will push back. You'll hear the voice that says, that's not real, that's just your imagination, you're being delusional. And to that voice you must say, exactly, because imagination is reality, and I choose this one. The world you desire already exists, in the unseen. And the moment you emotionally align with it, the moment you assume it as your current reality, you become magnetic to the events, people, and opportunities that bring it into form. But this path is not for the timid. It requires courage. It requires boldness. It requires a kind of spiritual rebellion where you choose your inner truth over external facts. Because the facts are just echoes. Echoes of past assumptions, past states. past identities. And when you persist in your new state, those echoes dissolve. They fade. They're replaced by a world that reflects who you've become. Neville said it like this: dare to believe in the reality of your assumption and watch the world play its part relative to its fulfillment. That's the power. And that's the test. Can you dare to believe before it's visible? Can you rehearse the outcome until it feels more real than the present? Can you feel the joy of receiving what hasn't yet arrived and then walk in the world as if it has? That's what it means to live in the end. You don't talk about it. You walk it. You don't wish for it. You wear it. You don't chase the dream. You embody the result. It becomes your new home, your new atmosphere, your new baseline. And soon your external world begins to conform, not because you forced it, but because you assumed it. This is the secret the world calls luck. It's not luck, it's law. So if you've been wondering when your moment will come, if you've been waiting for the perfect conditions, the right timing, the sign from the universe, stop waiting, start assuming, because the moment you live from the end, the middle begins to appear. You don't have to know how, you don't have to figure it out. Neville taught that the end creates the means. When the end is clear, the bridge of incidents will unfold. A call you didn't expect, a meeting that feels random, a closed door that leads to the one that opens. That's the orchestration of God, not outside of you, but within you. Because the God you're searching for isn't in the clouds. He isn't in a temple. He isn't waiting on a mountain. He lives in your imagination. He is your imagination. And every time you assume a state, you are communing with Him. You are creating with Him. You are fulfilling Scripture, not through religion, but through realization. And this realization will free you, because once you taste the power of assumption, you'll never again beg for life to change. You'll create the change. You'll become the change. You'll walk differently, speak differently, radiate a new energy that doesn't ask, it declares. Not with ego, with alignment, because you're no longer hoping, you're living in the end. So let me remind you right now what that means. It means that when you say, I am, you are invoking the creative force of the universe. You are calling things that are not yet seen into being. You are painting your future in the invisible and watching it appear in the visible. So speak carefully. Say, I am, only after you've filtered it through vision. Say, I am powerful. I am ready. I am wealthy. I am chosen. I am already living it. And then dare to walk through your day as if that were true. It doesn't matter what the circumstances say. It doesn't matter what your bank account says. It doesn't matter what anyone else believes. Your only job is to stay faithful to the state, not the facts, because faith in the unseen is what separates the ones who live aligned from the ones who live accidentally. And you were never meant to live accidentally. You were meant to live consciously, deliberately, powerfully. So here's the truth, as simple and as revolutionary as Neville made it. What you imagine and assume to be true, if persisted in, must harden into fact, not sometimes, always. So what are you imagining? What are you assuming about yourself, about life, about the people you love? Because your world will always tell on you. It will always mirror your most dominant assumptions. And the good news, you can change those assumptions right now. You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need time. You don't need to fix yourself first. You only need to choose the new state and dwell in it, feel it, claim it, sleep in it, and let the bridge unfold. The world will tell you you're dreaming, and you'll smile, because you are. But this time, the dream is not something you escape into. It's something you build your reality upon. Neville said, "Dare to believe in the reality of your assumption and watch the world respond." That's not a metaphor. That's not philosophy. That's instruction. You are the architect. Your assumption is the blueprint. Your imagination is the tool, and your world is the structure, built from within, brick by invisible brick. So stop giving your power away to circumstances. Stop handing over your authority to conditions, opinions, or past versions of yourself. You don't have to fix the past. You just have to revise it in your mind. Yes, even the past is malleable. Neville taught that the past is not dead, it's not even past. Your memory, when revisited with a new assumption, rewrites your energetic timeline. What once brought pain, guilt, or limitation can now become the foundation of your freedom, because you are not bound by what was. You are only bound by what you continue to accept as true. So reject the limitations. Reject the story that says, "It's too late." Reject the voice that says, "Who are you to want that?" And replace it with truth. I am. That's the most sacred phrase in all of creation. It's not just something you say, it's something you become. I am loved. I am powerful. I am aligned with abundance. I am already living my desire. Say it until your body believes, until your breath slows, until the room feels different because you're different. And once you've assumed it, protect it, because the world will try to pull you back, not out of cruelty, but out of inertia. Old thoughts, old friends, old news. But you're not going back. You've seen too much. You've remembered who you are. You've realized that creation is finished, and your role is to occupy the state, not force the outcome. So instead of reacting to what's missing, you rejoice in what's already done. That's what Neville meant by living in the end. You see what others can't yet see. You feel what others aren't ready to feel. You know before the world gives you permission, and that knowing is magnetic. Suddenly, things start moving. Suddenly, people show up. Suddenly, life begins to mirror what you've carried inside. And when it does, you don't call it luck. You don't call it coincidence. You call it law. Because you've lived it. You've tested it. You've proven it. So now, teach it. Don't preach. Just live it so fully that your life becomes the message. Let your peace speak. Let your alignment speak. Let your joy, the quiet joy of knowing you're creating from the inside out, be your testimony. Because when others ask how you did it, you'll tell them, I stopped chasing. I started assuming. I stopped waiting. I started being. And in that being, everything changed. That's the gift you now carry. That's the wisdom few are ready for, but many are silently craving. So share it, live it, be it, because right now, someone is watching you, and your choice to live from the end could be the light they needed to remember their own power. You don't need a title. You don't need to be perfect.
You just need to be willing. Willing to live in the end. Willing to trust your unseen world more than the seen one. Willing to walk by faith, not by sight. Willing to say every morning, I remember who I am. And I choose to live accordingly. That's what makes you unstoppable. Because when you no longer wait for life to give you permission, you become the permission. When you no longer ask for a sign, you become the sign. And when you no longer fear the unknown, you realize it's not unknown at all. It's simply the part of you you haven't claimed yet. So, go claim it. Don't just visualize it, move into it. Don't just believe it, embody it. Don't just hope for it, assume it until it becomes you. Because in the end, there is no mystery, there is no delay, there is no maybe. There is only assumption, and it's unfolding. That's the law, and now it's yours. So tonight, when you close your eyes, don't go to sleep as you. Go to sleep as the version of you who already has it. Let that version breathe through you. Let that version walk into tomorrow. Let that version rise and replace the old. And then watch the world obey. Not because you forced it, but because you became it. That is the gift of imagination. That is the legacy of Neville Goddard. That is the truth you've always known, now finally remembered. You are the operant power, the master key, the open door, and when you live in the end, you open the gates of heaven within yourself. Welcome home. If this message touched something deep within you, if a single word reminded you of who you really are, then don't let it stop here. Subscribe to this channel and walk with us on this journey of awakening. Because here, we don't just talk about transformation, we live it, one assumption at a time. Drop a comment below and tell us, what part of this message did your soul most need to hear? Your words could be the light someone else was waiting for. And most of all, share this video with someone you love, someone who needs to remember that they're not powerless, that their imagination holds the key. Because when we awaken together, we rise together, and the world begins to change.